It feels a little like foreplay.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day, whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast. This show is always free, and always remember how much I appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. It's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. But this is fun and all, and it feels good. Make sure you take care of all the little things that lead to the bigger things. But this is taking a little bit longer than I think most anticipated. Let's get busy. The other day, Lincoln Riley, he added another wide receiver, Jay Fair, speedy wide receiver from Auburn. He's now on USC's roster. He joined Kyle Ford, wide receiver. You know that name. Greedy Vance, defensive back from Florida State. Well, it looks like the Trojans have taken care of another need out of the transfer portal. They got a kicker. Yep, just what we needed, right? Not any kicker, a really good kicker. His name is Michael Lance. And it's the, It's the gift of Clay Helton that keeps on giving. This isn't a Trojan horse. Michael Lance, he's 5'11", 180 pounds. He began his career at Minnesota. He then moved on to Georgia Southern, home of Clay Helton. And he's going to come finish his career now at USC. Last year, 45 for 45 on his extra point attempts, 23 for 28 on field goal attempts. He was 17 for 18 from inside 40 yards. That's where Dennis Lynch struggled. He was 6 for 9 between the 40 and 49-yard range. He misses only attempt from beyond 50 yards. Ironically, that was Lynch's strength. He was accurate from long range. In fact, last year, I think he was 3 for 3 from 50 yards or beyond. Where Dennis struggled was with that mid-range game. If he's a golfer, using his irons. Wasn't really good with them. 9 for 17 on field goals between 30 and 39 yards over the past 2 seasons. That's 50%. That's not good. Excuse me. Lance, the kicker from Georgia Southern, who is now a USC Trojan, he also handled their kickoff duties. Now, for Georgia Southern, he had 43 touchbacks on 61 kickoff attempts. That ranked Georgia Southern 22nd in the country nationally. Okay, not bad. Prior to last season's kickoff, when USC started the season, Coach Riley said that USC had to be better with their touchbacks. Well, USC answered the bell in 2023 with a touchback rate of 29%. Ugh. It's 110th nationally. I think you know why Lincoln Riley went into the transfer portal. Now, I'm not sure why he needed to, and we'll get there in a second. He talked about competition. He talked about even about on special teams, you need to have that competition there as well. This is what he said. There's 2 ways that happens, creating competition. The guys in your program have got to improve, which we believe our guys will. And then you got to bring in guys from the outside that are ready to dive in and compete. And so we added some guys. Wouldn't rule out that we might continue to explore that. We'll just kind of see how the spring goes. We're splitting up the reps. We're letting these guys compete. We're going to have a different holder this year, which obviously is a big thing. That's been one of our big offseason goals, is knowing that one way or another, we have to take a step up there. And everybody involved understands the expectations. So I have to assume that even though Coach Riley has given the impression that, hey, we're creating some competition in the special teams room, especially at the kickoff with the kickers. Yeah, maybe not. Look, I'm going to assume that Lance is coming in to take Lynch's starting spot. It is what it is. Why? Why am I saying that? Well, because you don't need 2 kickers on your roster on scholarship. So it kind of makes you wonder, why is Lincoln Riley doing this? Why does he have 2 kickers on scholarship now? You guys want to go down that rabbit hole? You know where to find me. Hit me up if you're thinking what I'm thinking. So, look, maybe we're not getting a dedicated special teams coach, and I'm cool with that. I've explained my reasons why. I thoroughly am on board with Coach Riley's philosophy of why he does not need a full-time special teams coach. Now, so even though we're not getting a full-time special teams coach, what Coach Riley has done is he showed he is paying attention to special teams by improving, well, hopefully improving the kicker, the production at the kick at the kicker place kicker spot, the kickoff position. You've got Eddie Traplisky as your punter. You've got Ryan Robles, preferred walk-on, who, when he was given his opportunities last year, did okay. You got Dennis Lynch, who earned a scholarship last year. Now you're bringing in, a transfer from Georgia Southern on scholarship. So there you are. Here's another question for you. Where's the beef? Look, I think they need to bring back that old school Wendy's commercial, right? Wendy's does college football now. Seems like the right time. Anyways, just like that little angry old lady, where's the beef? USC fans want to know. And I'm in that line now. I'm kind of in the back, kind of looking over what's going on. Where are the big dudes in the transfer portal? I have an update from the back section over here. Listen up. Look, if you listen to yesterday's episode of Locked On USC, I told you about USC's status with the big defensive tackle, Derek Harmon, for Michigan State. Well, it looks like Miami's checkbook is closed. He's not going to go take a visit to Coral Gables. However, he and his NFL agent representative, they're going to go visit Colorado. So we're going to see where Derek's head is at. Is it with Coach Prime and Warren Sapp and their NIL bag? Or, is it Coach Henderson, Los Angeles, nice NIL bag? Someone said right now that group is looking for crazy money. That's the way it was described to me. I don't know what crazy money is. I wasn't given the definition, but when they use the words crazy money, it's probably outside of USC's budget. Look, I'll be honest. If you aren't going to pony up for Harmon, then you have to circle back for Demonic Williams before his advisors take the best offer out there. By the way, he's visiting LSU right now. USC plays LSU in game 1. I told you on yesterday's episode of Locked On USC that I think Oklahoma might be the front runner. They might have sweetened the pot just enough. I know they're coming in strong with an NIL package, but they also gave an offer to his little brother down the line. So if he ever wants to go to Oklahoma to play football, he's got an offer waiting. USC, look, they know their pool of candidates that are available right now. So look, by the time you're listening or watching this episode, the spring transfer window will be closed. For USC right now, it's put up or shut up time. Are you going to play the game the way it's being played? Or are you not? I'm not saying that USC isn't being serious. But look, we live in a result-based world right now. And if we're looking at USC's transfer portal, their needs and what they've accomplished, they filled some of the needs, but they haven't filled their biggest needs. Help on the defensive interior line. Help at offensive tackle. Look, if Pete Nakos from On3, if his market research is accurate, it's going to cost you $500,000 to $800,000 a year for an interior defensive lineman, for any defensive lineman. And if USC is going to pay their 2025 recruiting class, you're going to have to pay for the guys you need right now. So get in the game. USC, you know it. The fans know it. The players definitely know it. Players definitely know they have the upper hand. And I haven't even brought up the offensive tackle depth yet. All we're talking about is where are the defensive guys that they need. Like I said, the portal's closed. Coach Riley can talk about, look, we want to make sure we're getting the right guys to fit the culture. Question for the audience as we close out this segment. You know where to find me. Does college football still have a team first culture? Is that mentality, does that even exist anymore? I mean, with the transfer portal, with NIL, being able to get paid multiple times, can you build a locker room culture full of team first guys? Is it possible? And if you do, how expensive is it going to be? With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total up front. That way you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. And with Game Time, you get your tickets in seconds. 2 taps, you're done. Trojan fans, that game versus LSU in Las Vegas, it's coming up. Get your tickets. And Game Time has tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute deals. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose, Laker fans. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, let's talk a little bit about recruiting. 2025 recruiting class. USC is doing really well right now. They've got the 3rd ranked class nationally, but they've got some needs. What are the biggest needs in the 2025 recruiting class? Give me your opinion. Look, people are already chiming in. Turn that off. I know Coach Henney, Coach Henderson, Coach Nua, they're going hard after the D-line. I heard that the House of Victory is putting all of their NIL into an account, and I'm being sarcastic here, that's going to grow daily. They're planning ahead. In other words, that 2025 recruiting class is super, uber, duper important, especially that defensive line. Now, beginning in May, the official visits, that season opens up. Here's what I'm hearing. USC is going to, their coaching staff is going to be on the road. And if they have any official visits scheduled in May, they're going to ask those guys to reschedule. The last time that USC's coaching staff were hitting up the high schools, back in January. Yeah, it's been a while. From what I understand, Coach Riley, his staff, they're going to be living out of a suitcase pretty much the entire month of May. So they're going out there, they're shopping, they're recruiting, they're trying to fill their needs. We know they have their quarterback situation taken care of. Juju Lewis. The D-line, spoke about it here just a second ago. It's off to a fantastic start. Justice Terry, Isaiah Gibson, Gus Cordova. Like I said a minute ago, USC is going to start, doing the pay the high school player thing starting in next year's class. That's how the game is played now. That's why they're starting early, setting up that IRA, the growth fund, whatever. Defensive line, big focus. They've got 3 guys so far, and they're not done. Linebackers also going to be a big priority. They already have Manti Tagoai. He's already committed. They're going hard after a few other guys. Noah McHale, Madden Faramo. Get those guys. If you get those 3 guys in your class, that's a great linebacker class. They're going hard after the young man from the state of Texas, Riley Pettyjohn. I have to say that wide receiver is probably another area that USC needs to focus on. I said, Mark, what are you talking about? They just got 2 guys in the transfer portal. They got those young guys coming back this year. That's right. But we're talking about 2025. You have to plan for the future. Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane. They're going to be juniors in 2025. And I'm willing to bet at least 2 of those guys are going pro after their junior year. 2 minimum. So, yes, USC needs to focus at wide receiver. You need to go get 4 guys easily, maybe more. The obvious answer where USC really needs to focus, big need, because they've already, told you about the defensive line, offensive line. I want 5 again, another 5 per class. It's a good number. And I think with this one, it should be a heavy emphasis at the tackle spots. Again, this is where USC is supposed to be looking in the transfer portal for some help, for some depth, for some veteran experience. Guys who can come in, compete, and possibly challenge for a starting spot. Otherwise, you're going with a bunch of young guys. So that's on the opposite side of the ball. I think running back, they're okay. Probably get another 1 or 2. I mean, what do they have right now? You got at least 2 guys. One's an athlete. They're okay there. On the other side of the ball, I already spoke about the defensive line. I mentioned the linebackers. What about safety? What about the defensive backs? Is that an area that they need to kind of focus on? Pretty young back there. Another guy who just jumped in the transfer portal today. Some are saying USC has a shot. Others are saying no, it's probably going to be either Oregon or UCLA. Remember the big safety from St. John Bosco, Peyton Woodyard, who originally committed to Georgia, decommitted, went through spring camp at Alabama, was part of the 2 deep. Not anymore. He jumped into the transfer portal with the do not contact tag. Typically, when they do that, that means, hey, I got a couple of ideas of where I'm going. Leave me alone. Let me talk to those guys so I can figure it out. In other words, I don't need any more chefs in the kitchen. The soup is cooked. Again, could be USC, could be Oregon. Strong feeling it's going to be UCLA. Coming back to the West Coast regardless. So again, I think as far as the recruiting class for 2025, the staff has it under control. They're going to be out hitting the high schools all month of May. We're almost in May. Can you believe it? Eesh. Crazy. Before you know it, fall camp's going to be here. Unreal. So USC needs to get their transfer portal roster figured out, get those scholarships filled, and then during the month of May, the staff can focus on recruiting. So get your portal needs, get that figured out. That way you can hit the road. You don't have to think about it anymore. You can all you have to think about is the future, 2025, and getting your game plan ready for fall camp and all the official visits coming up in June. It's going to be a fun summer of recruiting. Stick around. Make sure you're hanging around Locked On USC. I'm going to be here for you 5 times a week. Nobody else is doing that for you. You like what you're hearing? Do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, become a subscriber. Smash that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that bell notification button. And that way you will never miss an episode of Locked On USC. And you'll get all your news and notes, everything you want to hear about. And when you're done making Locked On USC your first listen every day, follow me on over to wearesc.com. There's a ton of information for you over there. I've been told I'm a competitive person. You're starting to get that impression of me the more you get to know me. So because of that competitive side, I become a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you get to play not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations all around the world. You get to build up cities, and it brings you big time money. Here's our good part, fun part, my favorite part. You can mess around with your friends. You own the properties. They're paying you rent. You can walk in, rob them, go into their vault, go into their safes, take their money. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can also team up with friends and people all around the world, and you can get involved in some time tournaments, earn huge rewards. So get in the game. Join your friends. Download Monopoly Go. Now free on the App Store or Google Play. Look, I love my listeners and viewers. I tell you that all the time. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate y'all. Well, 99% of y'all. By the way, if any of you have any suggestions, ideas that you'd like to see me do here on Locked On USC for a segment, for an episode, hit me up. Send me a message. Hit me up on X, Twitter, Instagram. Leave it in the comment section here on the YouTube channel. I got a really good suggestion from one of my everydayers asking me, he wanted to know my opinion on who I hated the most that played in the powder blue, the Bruins. In other words, players that made, well, I guess my life miserable, made USC's life miserable. There's a few of them. Look, there's one name I never want to hear again. I'm going to say it now on the show. But unless it's a special circumstance, I don't want to hear the name again. Cade McNown. Yeah. You just found a way to win. He never lost to USC 4 times. In fact, yeah, there were 2 full Bruin graduating classes that never experienced a loss. That was a rough 8-year stretch for USC fans. I know it bugged the heck out of me. So, as far as players who I loathe, who suited up in powder blue, Cade McPuke, very top of the list. Yeah, if you know, you know. He threw up on the field. It is what it is. It happens. Been there, done that. Here's another guy. Could not stand him. Only because it's probably the game that USC lost during that streak where they should not have lost. Wide receiver, J.J. Stokes. Another guy who wore that baby blue, pissed me off. In that John Barnes game. Yeah, him. Transfer from UC Santa Barbara. Division II. Never heard of the guy before he got to UCLA. USC lost to UCLA that year, 38-37. John Barnes, he was 16 for 28, 385 yards. Who cares, right? J.J. Stokes, the wide receiver, Of those 385 yards, 6 catches, 263 yards. Let that sink in. Yeah, not a big fan of J.J. Stokes. Here's the thing. Like I said, there have been multiple players that I have not liked, that I have, finger quotes, hated, that played at UCLA. But there's not, look, I can name individual players all day long. But for me, it's more of it's a collective thing. Okay? It's just a whole bleh, a whole blue puke passion bucket. But Eric McNeil, yeah, didn't like that tip. 13-9. He'll forever be associated. Anthony Barr, you got a lucky shot. Kenny Easley, got to go into the way back machine. That dude was a great player. Did not like watching him play against UCLA, against USC for UCLA. If we're talking about running backs, Skip Hicks. What about Tinkerbell? Tyler Ebel? Maurice Jones-Drew? At least he can say he had a better pro career than USC's college running backs, right? What about coaches? Jim Mora. That's what I'll say. Screw that guy. I don't care that his daughter went to USC. He had that he just had that attitude that you just wanted to, you wanted to punch him in the face attitude. Some people say, I have that attitude. Usually that comes from confidence. Jim Mora, he was too confident for my liking. But like I said, it's hard to hate a guy when you're sending your daughter to USC. So on that note, who are some of the guys you hated in baby blue, powder blue, pastel blue? Hit me up. You know where the comment section is. We're going to talk more about this type of stuff throughout the off season. We're getting into it. But right now, transfer portal, got to get that taken care of. We're focused on recruiting. PRPs will be here soon enough. Lots to talk about throughout the off season. So until the next episode of Locked On USC, everyone, you know what to do.